Last week in the gaming world proved to be one that was chocked full of gaming news. There was a whole bunch of things that came out of Blizzcon 2021 last week. I'm going to be mainly focusing on World of Warcraft and Diablo. I'm going to be exploring some news about Ninja Gaiden and a Star Wars title that was announced last week. I had the pleasure to talk to the developers behind a very exciting game called GRAVEN. We're going to get into that. And there were two major releases that happened and a couple other things that we need to discuss. I am Nick Lehner. This is the Weekly Rewind, and these are the 4 things that we need to talk about that happened last week in the gaming world. Let's get into it, shall we? Blizzcon 2021 capped off the gaming week last week. It went from Friday to Saturday, and there was a whole bunch of different things to explore. They talked about Diablo, they talked about World of Warcraft, they dived into Hearthstone and a whole bunch of other things. However, we are going to focus mainly on Diablo and World of Warcraft, just because there were so many different announcements about those two major franchises that we would be remiss if we really didn't focus in on them. Now, I'm going to have a link below to BlizzCon's website and a link to the full stream itself, just so you can experience all of the announcements and all of the things that were really revealed during that event. However, we are going to focus, starting things off with World of Warcraft, and more specifically, we are going to head to the next major update in the World of Warcraft Shadowlands expansion called Chains of Domination. It's going to return players to the Maw, and it's going to feature a new mega dungeon to explore, a bunch of other loot, and a bunch of other really cool things within that anybody who is a major Shadowlands fan will definitely want to check out. Past that, the Burning Crusades Classic servers are officially coming to World of Warcraft Classic. Now, World of Warcraft Classic was announced back in 2019, and it was announced that there were going to be 6 phases within it that were going to be revealed slowly over time. This one is a very exciting one because it allows players to explore the Dark Portal into the apocalyptic Outlands almost exactly as they were way back in 2007. So, for anyone who's feeling very reminiscent, for anybody who's feeling very nostalgic, for anybody who just wants to experience World of Warcraft before it really turned into this mega monster with all these different updates and all this different content, this is the one for you. But there are some restrictions on this brand new mode. So players are required to be a level 60 to play Burning Crusade. However, since the World of Warcraft Classic literally doubled the player fan base behind World of Warcraft, it makes sense that they want everybody to be able to play this thing. So Blizzard has a one-time level 58 character boost that players can purchase to gain access to this game, because you have to be a level 60 to get into it. So you will be able to purchase this player upgrade, and then you will be able to get into the World of Warcraft Burning Crusade Classic. So it's a very exciting way to get in there and experience World of Warcraft in a simpler time. World of Warcraft when it all began. It's very interesting, it's very exciting. It is worth noting the raid bosses will be much harder than they were in the original, just because players have gotten much better over time, obviously, and there is no forthcoming announcement for a release date. Nobody knows when it's releasing, they just know it is coming in 2021, and it is also worth noting as well that the beta for this will be releasing very soon. Expect an announcement at any moment, at any time, any second, who knows? It's very exciting. Past that, Diablo 2, the remake, was also announced alongside some news about Diablo 4. We're going to kick things off talking about Diablo 2, the remake. So Diablo 2 Resurrection is a remastered version of the classic action RPG, and its expansion, Lord of Destruction, is going to have new 3D graphics, a completely recreated cinematic, and it is going to have all rebuilt audio. Everything basically is going to be rebuilt and redone from the ground up. Now, what about Diablo 4? Diablo 4 is not going to release this year. It's not coming out this year. It was announced way back in 2019. It feels like ages ago, but actually, when you really think about it, it wasn't too long. So it makes sense that this game is not going to be ready for a little bit longer. Now, it was revealed that Rogue will be the first playable class within the game, however, and it is expected to be in development for a while longer, as I said. However, it will feature a large open world which contains other players within it, horses to ride, and player versus player zones to explore. It is really exciting to see the evolution of Diablo from its very humble beginnings to where it is now. It's really going to be exciting to see where Diablo 4 takes us, where World of Warcraft Classic takes us. There's a lot of expansions to come for World of Warcraft. There's a lot of things to come for Diablo. There is just a lot on the way for Blizzard in general. So as the evolution continues, as the news arrives, we are going to be right here talking about it because there's no signs of anything slowing down, and we can only pick up steam as 2021 goes on and hopefully finally get a release date not only for World of Warcraft Burning Crusades Classic, but also for Diablo 4. So let's stay tuned and let's move on to number 3 of the Weekly Rewind. Usually when I do the rewind, I like to separate everything into one specific category so we can really dive into one thing and focus on it as we go through our numbers. However, last week was so full of different gaming news. We had Blizzcon, we had Nintendo Direct, we had a bunch of other announcements outside of that. There was releases, and there was just a bunch of other things. And honestly, I wasn't able to fit everything into this rewind, but to get as much in as I could, I fit 2 things into number 3, and we're really going to dive into them as much as we can, and I am very excited to really get into it because one is Star Wars and one is Ninja Gaiden, and who can't go wrong with those 2 things? And who could go wrong with them together? Nobody saw this coming, but it's happening, and it's happening here. This is innovation at its best. We're going to kick things off with Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden's remastered collection was announced for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC last week. It is going to be headed our way on June 10th, and it is going to be launching worldwide to include remastered versions of Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, as well as pretty much all of the downloadable content for those games. It's very exciting to see, and Team Ninja also released an announcement that they are going to be doing a special collaboration with Nioh 2 to celebrate this announcement of the remastered editions. Now, not too much else is really known about this, but Ninja Gaiden is a classic. It's been around for so long, it is really a staple in the gaming world. It's a very, very hard game to beat, but that just makes it all the better, and it really makes it one of the classic franchises in the gaming world. So it's very exciting to see that this remastered collection is headed our way, and it's going to kick off the summer the right way, because who can't go wrong with Team Ninja and a little bit of Ninja Gaiden? But moving past that, we're going to head to the Star Wars world. Now, Star Wars Lucasfilm Games was announced back a couple weeks ago, and they hit the ground running because they already have announced one open world title in the works. However, nobody saw this coming because at Nintendo Direct 2021 last week, they announced that another game is in the works. I'm talking about Star Wars Hunters. Now, it's going to be heading to Nintendo Switch in 2021. We actually don't have a specific release date at this point. However, it's going to be set after the fall of the Galactic Empire. Star Wars Hunters is going to connect players in real time to battle in an arena setting inspired by iconic Star Wars locations. Now, the game is being developed by Zigna and Lucasfilm Games, and really not much else is known about it. So we got to see a trailer, we got a couple other tidbits, but other than that, we really are left wanting. We really want to know more about this title, and no doubt within the next couple weeks or months, we are going to learn more about it. And let's hope that it releases a little bit before the holidays of 2021, because let's be honest, another Star Wars game will be really exciting to see, really great to play, and it's going to be a really welcome addition to the gaming world in 2021. And that is number 3. Last week, I had the esteemed opportunity to talk to the lead game designer behind GRAVEN. Now, this title, for those of us who don't know, is a dark fantasy RPG made by Slipgate Ironworks and developed by 3D Realms and IC Entertainment. It was a very great interview. We covered a lot of intriguing topics, and I can't wait for you to get into it. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview, shall we?
So there is plenty of freedom to explore. It is not an open world game. You don't have your island of places to visit with mini games to play in them. It doesn't flow like that. If you just push forward, it can be a very linear game if you want it to be, because it's more so as you progress, you open up the next chapter, so to speak, to progress through. But I think you'll have a much more rich experience circling back, because other quests pop up when you return to an area. Some of the upgrades for weapons can change things up quite a bit, and they are expensive, so you will want to return to a location to gather resources to, frankly, just find more gold. Mm-hmm. You start out in a swampy town that was meant to be kind of a jewel of the Empire, as it was right at the beginning of the inlet, where all the trade came in to this kingdom that you are a priest of. Problems seep in, very literally sometimes, and all it takes is a stray match to really set things ablaze in a bad way, such as a plague. So you go from the swamps to you move into a mountainous region. There is snow. I know every video game has its swampy area, the snowy area, and of course the desert. So we don't ever clearly denote a level to the player. No experience level is tracked, and there is not a skill tree. But you can improve upon your weapons. So as you explore more, you find more weapons, more inventory items and such, and then you can make investments with merchants to improve them. We do have certain items that you cannot progress without, because literally they're part of the progression. You will get them by just playing straight through the game. So generally speaking, every weapon has a primary fire and an alt fire and then one upgrade. And some weapons, you do not have the alt fire immediately, because either it is an additional physical component, or it is a non-intuitive skill that the character that you play has to acquire, and he gets this through training with a merchant, which is, to be frank, just another purchase.
With that in mind, I guess jumping ahead to a different question, does that leave room for DLC or seasonal content, sequels? I mean, is that something you could envision after launch?
There is room for that. There are not plans for it. It's just a case of focusing on making GRAVEN right now.
Gotcha.
I have ideas for what micro DLC could be, what expansions there could be, what a sequel might look like, what a prequel might look like, and what a whole new game that isn't one of those things but takes place in the same universe could be. But my brain does that automatically, Nick, so that's naturally happening with GRAVEN.
And I know I'm sure you can't narrow down a specific launch date at this point, but is there any way you could kind of give me a window for when you see the game releasing, or you hope to see it release?
That's because that's just as much a question for 1C, our publisher.
Yeah.
But we do have everything scoped out, as in our sprints are all planned.
Okay.
The tasks are all created, so it's just a case of maintaining our velocity.
The full interview for GRAVEN is going to be uploading on TechRaptor later this week at an undisclosed date, because honestly I'm not sure when it's going up. As soon as I can, hopefully within Thursday or Friday. As I said, just check back and you will find it here in the near future. GRAVEN was a great title to talk about, great title to explore a bunch of different things about. I had a blast with this interview, and I really hope that you come back and explore the full interview in all of its glory, because GRAVEN is a great title, as I said, and it's a very unique title. That is number 2. Last, but honestly never least, is the releases. They happened last week. We talk about them as number 1 every single time on the Rewind. There was only really 2 major ones that happened last week that I am very excited to talk about. They were big releases, big games, and we can't get away without talking about them. So we're going to kick things off heading in to Fallen Legion Revenants. It released to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 on February 16th, and it was developed by Yummy. That is a fun developer if I've ever heard about one, and I can't wait for you to explore that title just because of that. I mean, with a name like that, who doesn't want to buy that game? Now, for those of us who are like, what is this game all about? I'm going to tell you. It's an action, role-playing, side-scroller set in a dark world filled with mutated beasts to vanquish. So, it sounds really cool. It sounds very exciting. And it is a game that I definitely recommend you check out. As I said, it released on February 16th for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. So, when you get a chance, go get that game, because it looked very awesome. The next game we're going to be talking about is The Sinking City. Now, The Sinking City is not a new game. It actually released back in June of 2019 to all consoles. However, it is a very intriguing game that explores a lot of unique ideas. The game is a action-adventure developed by Frogwares and is inspired by the horror fiction author H.P. Lovecraft. As I said, it originally launched in June of 2019. However, the game is launching to PlayStation 5 back on February 19th. Now, for those of us, just to be clear, this is not a remastered version of this game. This is just The Sinking City released to PlayStation 5. And the reason for this is that there were some copywriting issues that Frogwares ran into when they were getting this game ready to be released for next-gen consoles. So just to be clear, this game is only releasing as its original form to PlayStation 5. Outside of that, that's really all we have. The one thing that I did want to bring up is the Mortal Kombat trailer finally released last week. It was originally slated to be one of the things that we discussed on the Weekly Rewind. However, with BlizzCon and all of the other announcements that just kept rolling out again and again throughout the week, I unfortunately had to shelve it and push it back. So just keep in mind that the Mortal Kombat trailer did release if you haven't seen it yet. I have the link for that trailer below. I have an article about the trailer below because it looks awesome and it's finally really exciting to see that a trailer has been released for this game. Outside of that, the only thing that we're going to touch on is Legend of Zelda's Anniversary hit. Well, I can't say theaters, but it hit the world Sunday, and it was very exciting to see that. It is really going to be intriguing to see what Zelda has in store for us, because really we haven't heard all that much from Nintendo about this, and it is going to be very exciting to see how this week plays out. I'm going to really dive into it next week so we can explore the world of Zelda, and hopefully there's something to explore, because as of yet there really hasn't been much. So that is the Weekly Rewind. I am Nick Lehner. These are the 4 things that you need to know that happened last week. I had a blast. So many different things, guys. Oh my goodness. Next week is going to be even better though. If you have anything you want to tell me, let me know. Any questions, concerns, critiques, I don't care. Just let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you. Never changes. Never will. Guys, this is the Weekly Rewind. I'm Nick Lehner. See y'all later. Take it easy.